Yes, thank you so much for the time today. So what we've got is, my name is John Lockhart. I'm a business development manager for Dell EMC. And what I cover as a region is all of South Asia as well as India. So I have a wide variety, a wide-ranging set of projects that are happening across multiple verticals, specifically to IoT. So my job is to really put the right pieces together to make a solution happen. Now Dell, as you can imagine, is a hardware provider. So we provide platforms that are the most rugged, the most industrial in the business, and with this, we pair them up with software that's proven in the industry. When IoT is considered by many companies, there's so many software vendors out there that, hey, I've got it, I can do it, but they make it challenging. It's where have you done it? How have you proven your technology and done it in a way that's actually brought meaningful results back to the customers that you're serving? So my job is to kind of pair that up with the local companies that do the deployment and the end users that really want to get value out of what they're doing. The key to doing IoT in the right fashion or implementing that is really designed around showing and justifying a return on investment, right? Again, IoT as a concept is great and everybody can do everything, but if you can't actually show the value that's returned on the actual investment, then you're not really able to get IoT further off the ground than more of a conceptual phase, POC. So what we do in that regard is really, like as I mentioned, we've got solutions, for example, in cold chain supply and cold chain logistics, where we're actually going in and automating refrigeration equipment. We're automating the temperature settings, doing predictive maintenance, so before they break down. Typical grocery stores that have a lot of these pieces of equipment, when it fails, they wait for somebody to notice. What happens then is a lot of food is spoilage. So what we do is we automate the maintenance cycles, we reduce the power consumption by keeping the actual refrigeration units operating more efficiently, and lastly, we reduce storage, food spoilage within these companies. So by doing those things, we prove the value of actually handling that. Now we move on, and we've done this in the largest retailer in the US right now. We deployed a POC in 6 weeks. A lot of the other conceptual really take too long. So our job is to help make it the most efficient in order to bring that kind of recognition to market. When we looked at following the POC, the results were so successful that the company rolled it out to the first 1,000 stores within 8 weeks later. And then beyond that, it's actually gone to the next 4,000 stores. So what we're seeing with trends like this is that if you can prove the concept and you have a solution that's scalable, you can actually bring that to the market faster in a much more meaningful way. What I'm seeing when I'm out in the field is a lot of companies with a concept. I can do this, here's what I can do. The challenge they're having is they haven't actually proven it. And when it goes to actually proving that, it turns into a very lengthy cycle as opposed to something, again, that's scalable. So when we're talking about a company, for example, that codes their own software and designs their own solution, the moment there's a new sensor or some new additive to the mix of IoT, it's more coding and programming. The solutions that we bring to the market from a software perspective, really the SI's role instead of developing software is to take and be the best at implementing so they can actually deploy and scale at a much more rapid pace. You know, it's kind of a change in mentality. SIs are used to doing all of the work, and it's hard for them sometimes to recognize that I can do this. I've got an application that turns the light on and off. Right? But how does it collect data? Does it bring meaningful data back to me? And is it always sending that data directly to the cloud as opposed to having a device in place at the edge that actually can do machine-to-machine decision making? What I'd like to do now is introduce you to our Embedded Box 3000 PC. This is an entirely industrial grade machine. So it's designed to run at operating temperatures of 0 to 50 degrees, 24/7, 365, for periods of 5 years or longer. Now, what's unique about Dell's proposition is things like zero airflow. So we see in the back a few screws, but nothing penetrates the inside or the interior of the device. It's designed to be completely discreet, and actually sit with zero airflow and still dissipate temperatures. So you can place this in a 50-degree environment. You don't have to worry about cooking oil if it's in a, let's say for example, in a fast food chain, right? It can still run a POS and a digital signing application as a single unit, or a kiosk, and it can sit anywhere without really worry about, challenging things like temperature. Now, what we've seen differently is our designs start with the military 810G spec. So it's built with that mentality from a ruggedization perspective. When we say 0 to 50 degrees, we're talking about system operating temperature 24/7, 365 all year long. So what we're seeing alternatively is other companies, having similar type devices, but they're not really showing the proper temperature specs, the proper reliability. So what we've done is brought something different to the market that Dell EMC has the scale and the ability to support globally. So we don't have a huge minimum order requirements for our products, and we do support that's different than what we've seen in competition.
Great. Thank you.
Wow. I mean, that's a great question. I would just say that I think it's still going to be more along the lines of kind of last year's show was how to make it reality. Instead of what can I do, it's what have I done. So what I'm seeing is the trending moving into showing off the solutions that actually are delivering the results that people expect. I see next year's trend to capitalize that on more of the different verticals. For example, like the building automation, the transportation sector, and the energy and utility sector. So I'm seeing that will grow much bigger than where we're at today. Those are going to be the foundation blocks that lead into the next step, in the consumer side of the house. I was asked a question earlier today about, hey, where do you see consumer going? It's still kind of a price kind of challenge, right? How do I give all these fun things around sensors and data and wearables that provide reasonable, realistic data back to an end user and provide value in that? And right now, we're not yet seeing that. With the foundation, as I mentioned, being built up, we'll see those trends start to multiply as well. What happened, I think that, in my opinion, what I would say is that as we look at IoT as a concept, I've been doing IoT as a business development manager for 2 years. In the beginning stages, it really was all hype. So you've got a lot of companies that are coming out with, I can do this, everybody designing applications. That created a huge amount of confusion. And it also, in turn, made some of these areas of industry hold back and say, hey, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do IoT. I can't prove the ROI, where is it at? So our perspective at Dell EMC is to really bring together proven software with a local SI, marry them up with the right sensor set, and we deploy that as a complete solution. So we help to make all of that happen. And again, our perspective is providing that platform that's solid and stable. So when companies embrace this, they'll be able to grow faster. The disruption side of it is for the companies that gain too much fear from the hype in the first place and are waiting, and they're going to wait. And by the time that they start to do IoT, they'll be potentially 1 or 2 years behind everybody else, and that time may lead them to no longer being a viable solution or competitive in their market. So yeah, that's where I see the disruption happening.